Hello, Wired fam. What's going on tonight? How's everybody doing this evening? Hope everybody's doing well. Welcome to another Wired for Crappie Live. It is the 31st, getting ready to be into April. Jeez, Zooey, tomorrow's the 1st of April. Time flies when you're having fun, guys, doesn't it? Like I said, I hope everybody's doing well tonight on a Wednesday night. Hope you're staying dry. We have gotten a ton of rain in East Tennessee over the last week. It's raining again tonight. It rained last night, rained this morning. So yay for us, because lakes are up, they're high, they're muddy, they're running. The floodgates are wide open at every dam from Chattanooga to Bristol. So plenty of current right in the middle of the spawn. Well, kind of the beginning of the spawn on a lot of our lakes, but nonetheless, spawn. If you don't mind, drop me a hello. Let me know where you're from when you get on. I'm going to say some hellos to everybody, but I'm not going to go through everybody tonight, guys, because I really got a lot of good stuff I want to get into. So I don't want to waste all y'all's time with the hellos. But hello to everyone again. So if you come on late, I apologize, but hello to everybody, okay? So let's talk a little bit about what we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about side imaging, down imaging, and how to depict what it is you're seeing on that screen. So I'm going to actually show you guys some screenshots or some photos of side and down imaging, and then we're just going to kind of go through those. I'm going to talk through what my eyes see in those shots and why I believe what I'm seeing is what I'm seeing, okay? So some of these shots are actually shots of my depth finder. Some of the shots I did pull offline because there was interesting stuff I wanted to show you guys on those actual side and down imaging shots. So we're going to go through some of that. We've done this before. You guys really liked it. I had a lot of great feedback from you guys about going over the side and down imaging. And I've got some standard imaging in there too, okay? We're not going to get off onto live scope tonight, guys. We will at some point in time get over into live scope, but right now we're going to go through everything that is standard sonar, down imaging, and side imaging. We're going to walk through everything that I see in those images, okay? So the stuff that's right under your boat is sometimes easy to see. Some of the stuff that's off to the side on your side imaging can be a little tough to depict what it is. So that's what I want to try to help with tonight. We're going to go through that. Like I said, I am going to say some hellos real quick. And if I miss you, I apologize. Josh, Todd, Solomon, Andrew, what's up? Tim, Matthew Kofelt, hello. Jimmy Pratt, Andrew Alonzo, what's up? Mike S. Muddy Feet TV, what's going on, Muddy Feet? Jody Gosaway, Tom, hello. Guys, if I miss any questions tonight, I apologize, but we've got a real big lineup of stuff to get through tonight. And like I told you guys before, we're going to try to stay around that hour mark. So we're going to try to get everything in an hour. Okay, guys. Ashley Coffee, what's up? Andrew says, what do you think about all this weather and all this rain going to do to these fish? I have a harder time getting back on them. So all this influx of water, all this fresh water, it's a warm rain. So, and the water's rising. So with the warm surface temps partnered with the rising water, it's going to push fish up. Fish are going to come up. They're going to follow the water up. Fish follow water up, and they follow water down. So fish will follow the water, and it's going to warm the water temps up too. So for us in Tennessee, Andrew, and I see – thank you, Andrew, for your super sticker. I appreciate it, buddy, very much. Thank you. Guys, if you do not know what a super chat or a super sticker is, that is a way for you guys to give back to the channel, to keep me on the lake making great content for you guys. I appreciate that very, very much, Andrew. It's a blessing to this channel. It's a blessing to me personally, and I appreciate you very much for doing that. I promise you, sir, I will take that, put it right back into crappie fishing, making great content for you guys to watch, okay? So thank you very much for that, buddy. But to answer your question, fish are going to move up, water's going to warm up, and for us in East Tennessee, that's a little problematic because water's going to come up paired with warmer surface temps, which means fish may try to do their spawn thing, and then they're going to suck the bottom out of the lake. So that's a little problematic for us in East Tennessee, but it'll be okay. Not all the fish spawn at one time. Plenty of fish to still spawn. Okay, guys. Real quick, discount codes right here coming across your screen. Crappie Cove, 10% off at crappiecove.com, which you can use the wired discount online now, guys, at crappiecove.com, or you can call 865-233-3471. Use that code WIRED that gets you 10% off. 10% off fish and specialties poles for your live scopes, guys. Wired discount there. And then boneheadtackle.com, 15% off with Crappie 2021. So if you guys would like to, thank you, son. Yes, you can have that. Close the door. Thank you, sir. Discount codes. So you guys can use those discount codes. Save yourself some money. I appreciate you guys for being a part of the Wired fam, and that's for you guys to save a little bit of your hard-earned money, okay? Let's see. Ashley Coffee, good evening. Heath McDaniel, Matt Wiley, Mark, hello. Jeffrey, Ronnie, Silent Night. Got a question. All right. Can you answer this question quick? How do I know if there's crappie and good size ones in a good farm pond? In a farm pond, you're really going to have to get out there and fish for them. There's really no other way to figure out what size they are without fishing for them. Electronics help, live scope helps, but more or less farm ponds, you're just going to have to fish them and see if you can locate fish and see what size they are. Grant Bailey, what's up? Crappie Crushing TV, hello. Robert Johnson, hello. D-Car. Yes, sir, D-Car. I did get my new ACC crappie stick. I got it rigged up right here. And I'm going to break it in my fan again. No, I'm not. Got my new ACC crappie stick, D-Car. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate you very much. Got the fluger off the other rod, put it on this one, and got it rigged up with my pumpkin and chartreuse stump bug. So thank you, D-Car. I appreciate that. That was a blessing that D-Car gave last week in his super chat. Wanted me to get a new ACC. So that is a 6.5 footer, brand new off of the shelf. So thank you very much, buddy. I appreciate it. Look, there ain't even anything on the grip. It's clean. We're going to get crappie slime on that. We got to get some slime on her. But thank you very much, D-Car. I appreciate it, buddy, very much. All right. Billy Smith from Wartburg. Hello. Crickwater Crappie Company. What's going on? Tyler Key says, what's up, y'all? Fished Watts Bar yesterday, and crappie were on fire up near spawning areas, and they were aggressive. So rising water, fish will move up. I'm guessing that's what you experienced yesterday, Tyler. So congratulations on a good day fishing, buddy. There's Misty Martin. She says, good evening, crappie fam. Misty Martin is your Crappie Cove girl. When you call Crappie Cove, ask for Misty. She will hook you up. Johnny Coots, what's going on? All right, guys. So everybody okay with going over a little bit of side imaging, down imaging, how that kind of works, and what I see when I look at some of these images as far as locating crappie, identifying crappie, not only crappie on brush, but crappie suspended, crappie out off to the sides of the boat, and so on and so forth. Excuse me. So first, for those that don't have live, or excuse me, bring it back. For those that don't have down imaging or side imaging, there are some standard sonar shots in this as well. We're going to talk about those standard sonar shots and how to depict what's fish in those as well. So if you don't have down imaging or side imaging, stick with us. There's a couple shots in here for you guys as well. But we're really going to go through this. I'm going to try. When I share my screen, guys, I do lose some of the comments because I'm sharing my screen. I am on my laptop, so when I share my screen, I see the screen I'm sharing so that you guys can see it, and I lose some of my comments. So I am going to watch my phone and make sure or try to not miss anything. But if I do miss you guys, I promise I will be back, okay? And I will catch up on some of those comments. So let's see. All right. Any questions? D-Car says, nice. Now take the cleats off the boat. That ain't no lie. That is no lie. All right, real quick, for those that were on the live last week, before I go over sharing screens, I just want to say thank you. Okay, we've got close to 100 people watching. I just want to say thank you to those that were on last week. The outreach of people from last week that sent their condolences for Rust Dog. I really appreciate that. I actually got an email. I don't know if you guys saw my post or not, but I got an email from one of the Wired Fam members. They actually made a donation to Paul's in Chicago in Rusty's name. That was touching. That was absolutely touching. So thank you all for the outreach. Rusty is actually back home now. So he is actually back home and in his bed. I'll show you guys real quick. He's actually right here in the office with me right now. He's listening in on the live like always, but he's in his bed, so he's back home now. So thank you to everybody again for the outreach and the thoughts and the prayers and everything for Rust Dog last week. But it was humbling. So thank you. All right, let's get into everything imaging. All right. So first and foremost, let me talk a little bit. I'm going to put something up on the screen. So let me talk a little bit about this picture here. Let me get it up to where I can. There we go. All right. So if you've ever wondered exactly what it is or how side imaging and down imaging works, so you're down imaging, the down imaging phrase is kind of a little misleading. So if you look at this photo here in this area, guys, this is your down imaging cone. So this is kind of demonstrating, here's your boat here, okay? So there's your boat, there's your transducer from your boat. This is your transducer line at the top of this peak. That's your transducer line where your boat drove through the lake. Okay. And then this cone that's coming down from that center line is actually your down imaging beam. Okay. So with that being said, anything that's picked up on this 20 feet, probably, we're going to call it 20 feet. This 20 feet of lake bottom, anything that's picked up on that 20 feet of lake bottom right there is going to show on your down imaging screen. Okay. This is basically the flat picture folded so that you can see what that beam looks like and then out to the sides. So this area in here in this gray is actually your down imaging beam. Now, it shows you a tree right here and a stump that was actually off to this left-hand side, but was caught by your down imaging beam because it's a cone, okay? So this is a very, very good example, and I wanted to show this first because it shows you exactly how that beam orientation is and how much. So now keep in mind, if you're in 3 feet of water and you're up here, it might only be 6 or 7 feet that you're looking at of lake bottom on your down imaging. If you're in 30 or 40 feet of water and the bottom's down here, that may be 25, 30, 35 feet of lake bottom that you're looking at on your down imaging. So the deeper the water, the wider the cone when it gets to the bottom. When that cone comes down and it gets to the bottom, the deeper the water you're in, the more bottom you're looking at on your down imaging, okay? Now, right here's another crease where that down imaging beam meets the bottom of the lake. And then from that point over is your side imaging photo or picture. So let's say you're looking at your screen, and we'll see this in a little bit, but you're looking at your screen and there's black from the center of your boat over to where the down image meets the bottom. There's black, right? This right here is the edge of the black. That may be 10 feet from center and 10 feet from center on either side of this cone, which may represent the 20 feet of down image, then you pick up your side imaging, okay? Is there any questions on that? Does everybody kind of understand how those cones work and how the beams and the sonar works? I gotta get back into my live here. Ding. All right. Hang on, guys. I gotta come back over here to get I'm not getting them on my phone, so I gotta come back and look at y'all's comments. All right, I don't see any comments on that, but so that kind of shows you guys exactly how that down imaging cone works and the side imaging works, okay? Now, here's a side image. Obviously, this is the boat. This is the boat line. This is center, okay? What this is one pole, okay? One pole right here. And it has one limb that comes off. You can see the shadow of that limb that comes right through here, okay? This is a school of crappie that's sitting on that pole. All right? We'll call it a stump. But this school of crappie, okay, again, I've said this 100 times. People got tired of listening to me say it. Crappie stack vertically on structure. So if you can tell, these fish are stacked vertically up and down this pole. And you can see this shadow. So I want you to particularly pay attention to this shadow, because this shadow right here is what tells me this is not bait, this is crappie. The reason I say this is crappie is because you can see the individual dots, okay? In that shadow ball, you can see the individual dots of fish. So yes, these fish are packed tight on that structure, but you can see the individual dots of the fish. And I'm going to show you here in just a little bit what bait looks like. You will not get these individual dots or shadows on the lake bottom, okay? Now, one other thing I want you to look at how the fish returns, these white fish returns, okay, how far away from the shadow those fish returns are. So right there where those white fish returns stop, these shadows start. That tells me that these fish right here are almost on the bottom of the lake, because that shadow starts right where those fish end. Okay, so they're not on bottom, but they're probably within 2 feet of the bottom. All right, now these fish up here obviously aren't on the bottom of the lake. They're suspended up higher. That's why their shadow is further out. See, their shadow's further out here. So that space in between those fish and their shadow tells me how high in the water column they are. Also, my down imaging would tell me on this photo. But if you were to see something, let's say those fish were sitting where the shadow is, and then the shadows were over here, I could tell by driving by, are those fish on the bottom or those fish up in the water column, okay? All right, let's see. We got some questions here. C219 Troll, can you select narrow and wide beams? So yes, you can select some units. You can, some units you cannot. So some units you can select different kilohertz. So you've got 200 kilohertz. You've got 85, 200, you've got 455 or 800 on your side imaging, down imaging. So we're going to get into that just a little bit here in just a little bit, 219, and we'll talk a little bit about the different beam widths. Andrew asked Missy a question. Was I supposed to get anything for registration? I never got anything. All I got was stuff from crappie class. Andrew, are you asking about the ACC tournament? Oh yeah, for ACC tournament. Yes. if you have registered for the ACC tournament that is going to happen on Watts Bar next Saturday, you will get an email this week with all the rules, regulations, coordinates to the ramp, addresses to the ramp, address to the motel. You will get everything in an email this week. Or what is this week? Well, this is Wednesday. Next week. I'm sorry. First of next week, you'll get all that information. Ashley says, it is my understanding that the land picture on side imaging that begins after the black is the land directly under the boat, correct? Or are you saying the land starts on either side of the down imaging cone? The land starts on either side of the down imaging cone, Ashley. Where the land starts, like, okay, right here, for instance, this is your boat. Well, let me get this up. All right. This line right here is your boat, Ashley, okay? Hence the boat in the top of the picture. This is your boat line. This black area from that line to where this land starts or lake bed starts, this black area is the down imaging cone, okay? Where that land starts is not directly under your boat. Okay, that's probably 15 to 20 feet from that line to where that starts. Okay, let's see if I have, hang on, a better picture. I think I do. Let's look at this one for a second. All right, so it's kind of hard to see, but you see right down here, guys, where it says 0, you got 20. That black area that comes over and meets the bottom of the lake right here, that black area, okay, is probably 10 feet. That land does not start till 10 feet to your right, okay? So with that being said, again, where that land starts is not directly under your boat. That is not directly under your boat. That is probably, in this picture, it's probably more like 20 feet out to the right. Okay, so this structure is actually touching the lake bed 20 feet to the right of your boat. Does that make sense? Did that answer your question, Ashley? Oh, there we go. There we are. Mike asks, so the stump is actually in the down image cone. Yes, the stump is actually in the down image cone in this photo, Mike. So the photo you're looking at right now, the stump comes down and meets the lake bottom right about there. See where that shadow, see where this stump comes down and that shadow starts to get real dark right there? That's where that stump comes down and meets the lake bottom, is right in here. That's where your shadow begins. That's where your stump ends. So that is actually, part of that is in the down imaging cone, and then the end of it is actually in your side imaging cone. All right, if your side images show that's 40 feet to the left, how far is it off your boat? I think I know what you mean by that, Jimmy. So if your side image, shows that this right here is 40 feet, then wherever your transducer is on your boat, Jimmy, it's 40 feet from your transducer. Okay. Okay. So if you if it's 40 feet, if that line there is 40 feet, okay, then that line starts 40 feet from where your transducer is. Ashley says, I've been reading it wrong. I was under the impression that side images began under the boat, then split off to either side, and that the black area was the depth from transducer to the bottom. No, that is not correct. 100% false, Ashley. It is the opposite. Larry Merrick says, I am confused. A hummingbird video says that if you fold the picture at the boat line, then fold again at the black, that's the bottom, opposite of what you're saying. No, Larry, let me show that first picture again. This is actually the hummingbird photo that you're talking about. This came from Hummingbird, okay? Correct, Larry, you are correct in saying that if you fold the picture at the boat line and then fold it again at the black area, but the black area is a cone. The black area, the down image is not straight down, okay? It is not straight down. It is a cone, all right? Just like in this picture. See how they have that gap in that picture? There is a cone that comes down with that down image. It is not straight down. So when I've got a better picture to depict this. Let me do something right here, guys. Where is it at? Here we go. Let's go back. All right. So take a look at this right here, guys. Okay. In this image, that's a little blurry, but it'll be all right. In this image, you got you're looking 35 feet to the left and 35 feet to the right. Okay. Here's your center line of your boat. This is a Lowrance image. All right. Here's your center line of your boat right here, right in the center of the page. Here's your 0. Here's 10, 20. That's about 23 feet to where you meet the bottom. And that's 23 feet on the other side to where you meet the bottom. Okay, so you're looking in your down image, you're looking at 46 feet of water right here. Okay, now this says 19 feet. 19 feet's up here where the boat is. All right, down here, it's more like 40 feet because I remember this. So it's more like 40 feet down here. So you're looking at a very, very large span of water underneath your boat with that down imaging cone. Okay, that's why this black area spans out here to 23 feet on either side because it's a cone. Okay, that makes sense? So again, that's why this is folded the way it is, because there is a cone that comes down with that down imaging transducer, and that area is what you're looking at. So Larry says, oh, so the two edges don't touch. That's correct. The two edges do not touch. Again, I can fold a paper up for you guys right here real quick. So this is not what it looks like. All right, that is not correct. All right, there is a gap. Okay, there is a gap in that paper, right like that. All right, so you do have that cone. They do not touch, Larry. No, it is like this, just like you see on the screen. See, now somebody learned something tonight. That's good. Can't say we're not always learning. We're always learning, right? Andrew. Andrew says, so are you better off making waypoints with down instead of side scan to be more accurate? Not necessarily, no. I mark all my waypoints on side imaging. I do not mark any waypoints on my down imaging at all for any reason. And I'll tell you why. Because on your side imaging, you're looking at that from an overhead view. And when you scroll over and you put a waypoint, you're scrolling over on an overhead view. When you're looking at your down imaging screen, you're looking at it more from a perspective view, from looking at it the way it's showing you the picture on the screen. You're looking at it more from the side, I guess. So I like to use my side imaging. I always mark my waypoints with side imaging. I always scroll over on top of the pile and mark it there. Now, very good question. We'll stay on this for just a second and we'll move over. Let me find an image that I can use. So here we go. So if I'm looking at my side imaging, Andrew, and I see this image, forget the down imaging on this side over here, okay? See this side image right here? See how this group of fish is brighter off to the right-hand side than it is on my left-hand side? Now, for those, again, that say, well, I thought down imaging was straight down. If your down image was straight down, then why would this be brighter on this side than on this side? It wouldn't be. It'd be the same brightness on both sides if it was a straight down image. That's because these fish are off to the right-hand side of that transducer. They're still in the down imaging cone, but they're off to the right-hand side of the transducer, which makes the return on the right side of your screen brighter than the return on the left side of your screen. So these fish are off to the right-hand side of your boat, probably about 8 feet. Those fish are probably about 8 feet to the right of your transducer. Now, if I was going to mark this group of fish, Andrew, my cursor, I'd start my cursor, bloop, it'd come down, the screen would pause, I'd move it over, and I'd mark the top of that pile right there. Where my cursor is right now, Andrew, is where I would put my waypoint on those fish, because this is center of the boat, this is transducer. We know, because what I've told you 2 minutes ago, that those fish are a little bit over to the right. So we're going to ease that cursor over and boom, right there is where my waypoint's going to go down. If I put my waypoint here, I'm going to be 8 feet from where those fish are sitting, potentially 8 to 10 feet. I'll be 8 to 10 feet off those fish when I go back to that waypoint. So I want to move that waypoint over just to the top of that and mark it. Okay. Same thing here. All right, same thing here. If that down imaging transducer again was straight down and not a cone, this would be on both sides of the screen. This tree would be on both sides because it went through the straight down beam, but it's not straight down, it's a cone. So that's why it picks it up on the right and not on the left. Okay. Again, I'd bring my cursor down, Andrew. I'd move my cursor over to about right there on the biggest part, the heart. I want to find the heart of that tree, and I want to put a waypoint right on the top of that heart of that tree right there. That would be where my waypoint would go. Okay. And I do know some people that'll mark the bottom. So where the tree meets the shadow, they'll put it right there and they'll mark the bottom. I prefer to mark the top of them. Some people mark the bottom. It's just personal preference. But that'll get you close. Okay? All right. Any more questions on that? Matt says, I like shutting off the down images off when looking at side imaging. Yeah, you can. You can turn your down imaging beam off on some units and just have the seabed. Just have it show nothing but seabed. But I like the black area because stuff like this right here, stuff like this really jumps out on that black area. If this was blue all the way over to that line, then a lot of that would get lost. So I like having that black area. You just have to know how to read it. Okay, guys? Side scan search is so much further. Yeah, it does. It does. Black is the water column. That's true, but it's a cone, not straight down. Jimmy says, I thought the same. C19 Troll says, wow, I've been wrong all these years. I thought what Ashley said was correct. Thanks for the info. You're very welcome, C219. It is, I find that a lot of guys think that. A lot of guys think that here's the problem is it's called down imaging. And people go, oh, down imaging. It's straight down below my boat. Okay, got it. Roger that. Down imaging. It's not. It's a, depending on what depth of water you're in, again, it's that cone. So Billy Smith, so anything that I see on my graph that is below the black on land is a shadow. So anything that I see on my graph that is below the black on land is a shadow. No, not necessarily. And we're going to get into that here in just a little bit, Billy. I'm going to show you guys how I read fish, how I read brush, how I read bait off to the side in that seabed area that is side imaging. Okay, so we're going to get to that here in just a second. Humminbird has a chart for the cone degree, which widens the deeper the water. So there you go. So, you know, if Humminbird has a cone that's a chart that's telling you depth of water and chart footage, you know I'm not telling you a story, guys. Ashley says, thanks, Matt. I'll better understand what I'm seeing now and be more accurate with waypoints and buoy tosses. I appreciate your explanation and answer. You're very welcome. Jamie says, I've been reading wrong also. That makes so much more sense now. I'm glad I could help. Andrew says, I need a chart for depth and cone angle. Look, guys, if your chart, the chart is great. The chart's going to do you well, but your cone angle to depth is going to be right there on your screen in front of you. So if you're in 20 feet of water and you look down and your lines tell you that you're looking at 10 feet to the left and 10 feet to the right before it hits land, well, guess what? You know, in 20 feet of water, you've got 20 feet of bottom that you're looking at. It's right there on the screen in front of you. Don't necessarily have to have the chart. It's right there. It's going to be there every time you turn your unit on, okay? William C. says, that's got to be the best way I've heard it explained, I believe. Thank you. You're welcome, William. Larry says, why not the base of the tree? But I don't want to mark the base of the tree because not everything is perfectly straight up and down in the water, Larry. So if you get something that's laying a little bit this way and the bulk of that brush pile is over here, I like to mark the bulk of the brush. So if you get something that's laying one way or the other, I like that. I like to mark the bulk of the brush pile when I put a waypoint down. Asleep. What's up, Chris? Do you run side scan and down scan together on one screen for the more accurate view or understanding of what is going on? No, I do not. So the way I run my units, guys, I have a HDS 10 Gen 1 that runs sole side imaging. That's all it runs is my side imaging screen. And then I have an HDS 8 Gen 1 where I run my map. I run it split screen, map on one side, down imaging on the other. I never touch my down imaging. The only thing I use my down imaging for, I don't mark waypoints on it. I don't touch it. I don't zoom in. I don't zoom out. I don't scroll. I don't do none of that on down imaging. The only thing I use it for is when I go over a waypoint that I've already got marked, I roll over a waypoint. I use it to identify those individual fish. I don't use it for anything else. My side imaging on my 10-inch screen is what I do all of my work on. That's what I do all my business on. I mark my waypoints. I'm finding my structure. I'm looking for fish. Once I find that structure and identify those fish, that's when I may go circle around and come back and use my down imaging if I need to. If I see fish and I know there's fish there and I know I see good, again, I see good shadows like this right here on my side imaging, there's no need. There's no need for me to circle back around that. I'm fishing. I'm turning around. I'm fishing. I'm ready to rock. Okay. Piggybacking Sarge, sometimes I see more in the water column with a down image screen than I do with side imaging. Should I run both to see that, or do I need to adjust my side image settings? So I think I answered that, Josh. Like I said, I do run my down imaging, but I run it in parallel next to my map on my other unit. Okay. All right, Randy Dye, where's the crappie tourney at next weekend? So real quick, let's talk about that. ACC crappie sticks tournament. Let me get rid of this. Come back to you guys. All right, ACC crappie sticks tournament, April the 10th, next Saturday, guys. Next Saturday, Watts Bar Lake, going out of Tom Fuller Memorial Park. Okay, it's $100 entry fee per boat. There will be a barbecue dinner Friday night at 5 o'clock at Tom Fuller Memorial Park for all the participants. And then the tournament will be Saturday. You start fishing at 7:30, stop fishing at 3:30. Let's talk about the format for this tournament real quick. Okay. It is a big fish event. Each boat can weigh one fish per hour. There will be hourly payouts for the biggest fish caught every hour of the tournament. So you have 8 chances to win, guys. And then there is also a grand prize pot for the winner of the biggest fish for the day. All right. So you have to register. To register for that event, you have to call Crappie Cove. The number is right here below. Okay. It is coming up on the screen in just 2 shakes. 1, 2, 865-233-3471. You have to call Crappie Cove to register for the event. You have to be registered by Thursday next week. There will not be registration at the event. You have to pre-register for the tournament. Okay. So you go out, you start fishing. You can launch from Tom Fuller, or you can trailer to another ramp on Watts Bar Lake, but you have to trailer back to weigh your fish, or you can put in at Tom Fuller, run out, catch you a big fish, come back, hit the scales, weigh him in, go back out, keep fishing. 1 fish per hour, winner of each hour. The payouts for that tournament, if you are fishing with an ACC crappie stick, $650 per hour. If you're not fishing with an ACC crappie stick, it's $400 per hour. Okay. Now let's talk about the grand prize. Okay. The grand prize for the biggest fish caught that day out of the 8 hourly weigh-ins, okay? And you can weigh any time during those hours. You don't have to come at a certain time. If you catch a fish at 10, 11, and you want to bring it to the scale and weigh it, you crank that boat up, you come to the scale, you weigh it, and go back out and fish some more. All right? So the grand prize for the event, biggest fish caught, if you're not fishing with an ACC crappie stick, it's $1,000. If you are fishing with an ACC crappie stick, $2,500, okay, for the grand prize if you're fishing with an ACC crappie stick. I'm going to say it again because I know some people are going to be like, did he really just say that? $2,500 for the biggest fish caught Saturday. Now, it may be a 3/4 pound fish. It may be a 3 3/4 pound fish. Nobody knows. That's the beauty of this tournament. You don't have to be the best crappie fisherman in the world. You don't have to know the lake like the back of your hand. You don't have to know all that about this tournament. You need one brush pile with one big fish in it. Come on. And you got 8 hours to find it and do it. I mean, it is going to be a great tournament. Again, Crappie Cove is where you register for all that. Right down here, 865-233-3471. Call Misty. Register for the ACC event presented by Crappie Cove. By the way, Crappie Cove has new hats. I picked one up. It's got the patch on it. I really like the new hats from Crappie Cove. Got my hat messed up, but no, very, 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 very good tournament. It's going to be a really, really fun time, and I'm looking forward to being there and fishing it and seeing you guys. I'll be there. Chris will be there. Blake will be there. Andy with ACC will be there. Flopping Crappie will be there. Keith Aker will be there from Louisiana. It's going to be guys from all over, pro staffers. It's going to be a lot of fun, so you guys won't want to miss it. We're giving away a ton of stuff. There's just a ton of stuff given away at the tournament. You have to be at the ramp registered, or not registered, at the ramp checked in by 6:15 Saturday morning. So by 6:15 Saturday morning, you got to be at the ramp ready to rock. Live well checks will be there. You'll get lined up. You can put your boat in, beach it, dock it, whatever you want to do. Get ready to go. But there will be a pre-tournament meeting at 6:45. So everybody has to attend that meeting, and it's going to be a fun event. So thank you for that, Randy. Thank you for bringing that up. I appreciate it. We were going to talk about that a little later, but I figured that'd be a good break for everybody on the side imaging, and we talk about it a little bit. So, all right. So if you don't have spot lock and only have an anchor, how far would you anchor away from your waypoint? Ooh, wow, William, that's I'm going to flip this on you guys. All right, I'm going to flip this real quick. So if I was fishing with an anchor, I would probably go the exact opposite of spot lock. So everybody with spot lock wants to be downwind, ease up to a brush pile, and spot lock. If I was going to fish without spot lock, I would go first above the brush pile. I'd probably have 100 feet of rope in my boat. I'd get 50 to 60 feet, maybe 70 feet above the brush pile, put the anchor down, get the anchor to grab, get a good anchor, and then I would just let line out the front of the boat and tie off to the front of the boat, and I'd fish out the back. I'd let line out of the front of the boat until I got back to my brush pile, till I got about 15 or 20 feet from it, and then I'd just tie my boat off. Okay? So that's the way I used to do it before there was spot lock, and when I used anchors, when I was before I even had a trolling motor, that's the way I used to do it. I would get upwind and put my anchor down and then float back to those fish. That way I didn't spook them. Andrew says, oh, so when the land starts, that's where it's reading to the side. Yes. Josh says, so you're saying for me to just buy another unit? Thanks. I'll tell my wife you said so. Don't get me put in the doghouse, guys. Come on. I always say, I don't mind helping, but don't get me put in the doghouse. Ronnie Harris says, thumbs up if you like info. 105 watching, 44 likes. Yeah, guys, please smash that thumbs up button. That lets everybody know it's good content and you guys like what's going on with Wired for Crappie. That way they'll click on it and they'll watch it and they'll like what's going on with Wired for Crappie. And you know, it also helps with YouTube because there is algorithms and suggested videos and all this other stuff that they do. So smash that thumbs up button for me, guys, please. And thank you, Ronnie. Always a good reminder. Hunter Mitchell says, late getting here. Maryville checking in. What's up, Maryville native? How many volts does your 93 SV read when running Panoptix? Mine says 12.5, but I'm thinking it should be near 17. I believe 18 is the max. Hunter, I run about 13.5 volts, 13.8, 13.7, something like that with my amped outdoors battery. And then by the end of the day, I'm running 13.2, 13.1. So I'm always over 13 volts. All right. Jimmy Pratt. But that one big fish has to be bigger than yours. The last tournament, you knocked my big fish off the board. Well, Jimmy, I mean, it's hourly. It's hourly. So if I weigh a big one in the first hour, it doesn't carry over to the second hour. That's another thing, guys. Your fish in that ACC event, if you weigh it 1 hour, it does not carry to the next. Everybody starts over every hour. Okay. I mean, this is going to be insane. I would like to say I'm going to be able to catch a good fish and win an hour, but I don't know. I mean, it starts over every hour. If I catch one big fish, weigh one fish, and somebody beats me that hour, I'm done. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be really, really, really cool. And you guys won't want to miss it. It's going to be one of the best run, best organized, and best formatted tournaments that funnest. I won't say best. I'll say funnest. It's going to be one of the funnest that you'll ever fish in. Okay. And I'm sorry, Jimmy. I didn't mean to. All right. So let's get back to our side imaging and down imaging, guys. Everybody cool with that? All right. Let's go to our next picture. All right. So again, crappie stacked vertically. Okay. I wish I have not seen. Have I seen Heidi yet? Is Heidi in here? She normally reminds me stacked vertically all the time. These fish are stacked vertically in between this, in between these bridge pilings. Okay. So if you can see, I want you to pay attention right here, guys, on those fish that are suspended out in open water. And I want you to pay attention to how far off the bottom those fish are. And I want you to look at how far their shadows are away from them. Okay. So let's count these fish. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 6 fish right there. Let's count these shadows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 shadows. Okay. So that gives you an idea of if these fish were down here close to the bottom, then those shadows would be here where this first arrow is. All right. But because those fish are so high in the water column, their shadows are very far from them. All right. Same thing as if you're outside and it's 12 o'clock noon, your shadow, if you look down at the asphalt, your shadow is right underneath you. But if it's now 7:30 in the afternoon and the sun's going down and you look down, your shadow is going to be all the way out here. Same thing with these fish. Okay. And no, when somebody asks me if those are crappie, they're not. Those are not crappie. These are crappie. Those are bass. Okay. There's 6 bass, 200 crappie. All right. And then that's a bridge piling, and that's a bridge piling. Hang on one second. All right. So does that make sense to you guys? Now, again, that bridge piling is being caught in that down imaging beam because whoever drove their boat through this drove their boat across this close enough to those bridge pilings for them to be picked up in that cone. Does that make sense? Another good explanation of if that down imaging beam was exactly perfectly straight down below the boat and not a cone, how could it pick up these bridge pilings? Because I guarantee you they didn't drive over top of the bridge. So, yeah, somebody may say it's a sunken bridge, but it's not. That's bridge pilings that they picked up on their down imaging cone. Okay. All right. Jimmy says, I'm paying a guy to follow you on a jet ski to give us a chance. That's funny because we may not be in the same boat we're normally in, Jimmy. We've kind of caught on to that. We've just decided we're going to start incognito and in different boats. Yeah. Good luck, buddy. We're going to hide. We'll wear ski masks. Let's see. I think I missed some comments here. Okay. Chris Carter says, what are your thoughts as to when you should run in and weigh a fish? Meaning at what weight cutoff are you thinking personally it will take from the first hour to the last? Good question, Chris. It's hard to say, buddy. It really is because, again, your slate's going to get wiped clean every hour of the tournament. And I mean, it may take a 2.5 pounder to win 1 hour, and it may take a 1.5 pounder to win the next. I mean, here's the thing: there's going to be guys out there on the lake. Now, when you pull up to the weigh-in site, there will be a whiteboard there that shows everybody the biggest fish for the hour, what the biggest fish of the hour is. Okay. But when you're on the lake, you're not going to know. You're not going to know. You can't call anybody, and they're not going to put it on Facebook. You're going to have to come look to see what the biggest fish for the hour is if you want to do so. So, you know, there may be guys that say, look, we've got a right at a 2-pound fish in the live well, but I don't think it'll weigh this hour. And you may get everybody stays out on the lake because they don't have a good fish. And you may have somebody that catches a 1.5 pounder and brings it in and weighs it and wins an hour because nobody else came. I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, it's just, I wish I could, man, but I don't think I can. All right, so here's Josh Sanders. He says, why don't you see the shadows for that pile of crappie in between the shadows of the bridge? You do. You do. What, are you trying to call me out? I'll show them to you. They're there. They're there, my friend. Let me zoom in for you. All right, there's the crappie. And, yeah, I got too close. You can see some of the shadows right there. Okay. You can see some of those high fish right here. The reason you can't see them here is because see how bright that return is? See how dark the return is right here, Josh? Look how bright that return is right there. That's a very hard bottom. That is hard bottom in between those bridge pilings, probably concrete, and you're not getting much return off of it because you're getting the hard bright return from the bottom is washing out the shadows. Okay, so you can see those shadows right around my cursor. If you look around the outside of my cursor right there, Josh, you can see the shadows. Okay, I'll zoom in a little bit. I'm gonna wash it out myself. All right, right around my cursor. See around my cursor, you can see some dark shadows. That's those upper fish that you're seeing. That's where, and you can see right out here, it's getting to be soft bottom again. And you can see some shadows right here. But this is hard bottom. That's why you don't see any return. All right. Slab Buster says, pressure's on Matt more than anybody. Y'all don't forget that. Oh, pressure is on Matt more than anybody. Y'all don't forget that. Well, it is and it isn't. I mean, look, yes, we've had a good year this year, guys. We really have. My partner and I have think we've won 3 or 4 tournaments and finished second in 3. No, finished second in 2, won 4, and then had an in 1. I think we finished like 6th. So, we've had a good year, but anybody can be beat any given day. There's no guarantee that anybody's going to win a tournament, especially this one, because you're not going to be competing against me every hour. I cannot physically weigh in 8 fish. I can't. From the boat ramp to where you're fishing, if it's a 10-minute run or a 15-minute run or a 5-minute run, doesn't matter. You got to run somewhere. And if you run somewhere 15 minutes, then you got to run back 15 minutes. That's a half hour. That only gives you 30 minutes to fish. Plus, you got to have time to get the fish up to the scale. So really, you only got 25 minutes to fish if you're going to weigh in 1 hour. Look, I don't think anybody's going to be able to weigh 8 fish. I really don't. I think you're going to have to pick and choose when you weigh in on the hours that you weigh in and hope that you better those hours or you best those hours. You're not going to be fishing against me now for the grand prize. Oh yeah, you're fishing against me because I'm going after something. I'm coming at it. Ain't no doubt. I'm a tournament man too. I'm a competitor and I love it, but, you're not fishing against me every hour. Okay. It's just, it ain't happening. So yeah, there's a little pressure there, Slab Buster, but nothing like a 7-fish tournament where I've got to go put together a pattern and be on the 7 biggest fish on the lake that day. That's more pressure than this tournament. This tournament's fun. And that's all there is to it. So I'm looking forward to it. Jimmy says, I threw back a 2-pound fish. I threw a 2-pound fish back in the Fuller area a couple weeks back. Well, maybe you can go get him again. You need him. Josh Sanders. Okay, got it. Washing out. Good question right here. Mike S. Very, very good question, Mike. How much does boat speed affect side imaging? So your boat speed will affect your side imaging. It varies by boat, okay? And let me tell you why it varies by boat, because every boat hull is different and cavitation becomes a problem. Air bubbles and cavitation is basically air bubbles. They are created or a dead space of air bubbles and stuff that comes off the bottom of your boat and the sides of your boat and the fins of your boat and so on and so forth. So cavitation becomes a problem at different speeds with different boats. My boat, my Ranger 690 VS, I'm 5-6 mile an hour and I've got just as good a picture as I do at 3 or 4. My perfect speed is throw the boat in gear, give it just a smidge of throttle, just enough to notice that the RPM changed a hair, and that's where I'm at. 4 to 4.5 mile an hour is where I get my best picture. This photo here, obviously, Mike was at 3.6, almost 4. But I'd say anywhere from 3 to 5 is where you're going to get your best picture. Anything below that, it's going to start getting all your pictures going to start getting very elongated. You're going to start getting fuzz. What appears to be fuzz, it's just going to be kind of, because it blows everything up and it reads it so much that it takes something this big and makes it this big. But 4 to 4.5 is where I prefer to be at. Slab Buster says there's going to be a lot of traffic on the lake that day. There will be, and that's why we're having a pre-tournament meeting, Slab Busters, because we want to remind everybody that with the hourly thing coming in and out, there's going to be a lot of boats coming in and out. Tom Fuller is a huge place. It's very wide. The lake is very, very wide there. It's very safe to come in and out of. And we're going to make sure that we have that conversation with everybody about, look, there's guys going to be in and out of here every hour, all day. If you plan to fish in the Tom Fuller area or Tom Fuller Creek, please think about that again because there will be a lot of traffic in and out of that creek. And it is going to be turbulent coming in and out of there all day long. They're going to be in and out, in and out, in and out. So keep that in mind if you're planning. I don't want you coming back to the boat ramp and saying, man, I got rocked all day and by golly, I couldn't fish because I was rocking back and forth. And there's going to be a lot of people coming in and out. And look, they're going to be coming in and out trying to meet an hour too. I mean, if they're coming and they got 5 minutes to get back to the scales, and they're going to keep her on plane just a little bit longer to get back to the ramp on time. So keep all that in mind. They're going to be running and gunning. Do you run the speed on auto? I use 6. No, I do not run my speed on auto. I generally match my speed with my boat speed. So if I'm running 4 mile an hour, I put it on 4. If I'm running 5, I put it on 5. If I'm running 3, I put it on 3, and so on and so forth. Screen speed to boat speed, that you need to match that. Tom A, got it. Matching boat speed and scroll speed helps better side imaging. You're correct. All right. And the slower, I will say this, the slower the scroll speed, the more definition you'll get as well on your side imaging. So if you're running 4 mile an hour and you put your scroll speed on 10, you're not going to get as much definition as you would on 4. Okay. All right, let's get our photo, our next photo. All right, so this side imaging photo here is obviously off a Humminbird. It is not one of mine. But I used to run Humminbirds. I ran Humminbirds for years, and, you know, I won't say anything bad about a Humminbird. All you Humminbird guys out there. They just don't fit my eye as well as Lawrence does, but they're still good units. All right, so I've got some things circled here. What I have circled here is fish, okay? So there's fish here. There's fish here. Off this point, there's a drop. This is hard bottom, shallow, hard bottom. It drops off into this little creek channel right here. This is a creek channel, soft bottom creek channel. And then there's also, actually it comes up, there's another little point over here. So where this point drops off into this creek channel and where this point drops off in this creek channel, there are fish stacked there and there. And then there is a group of fish out here. And Josh Sanders is going to say, I don't see fish shadows. Yeah, they're there. This is just a Humminbird unit for you. Okay. It's very black over here. This is why I don't prefer a Humminbird, because there's a lot of black in their palette. And for me, when I'm looking for shadows, it's very difficult for me to find those shadows in the palette because those shadows are actually right there on my cursor. Okay. The shadows here are right there on my cursor. And the shadows over here are actually right in here. Okay. On my cursor. So you lose a lot of the shadows on a palette that has a lot of black to it. So if you're trying to find those crappie suspended and you're looking for those shadows, need to pick a palette that doesn't have a lot of black in it, guys, okay? This is shallow water. Again, obviously, you can tell it's shallow water by the black that's in the center. You don't have a whole lot of black in the center. And it says 3.7 feet right here. But nonetheless, fish. Fishy, fishy. All right, so we talked about this one a little bit earlier. We talked about how, again, this is 25 and a half feet of structure. This is one of my units. This is, no, this is not one of my units. I'm sorry, because I don't run it side by side. This one's not one of mine. But this is an HTS 8 Gen 1. I can tell from the screen itself. Again, side imaging on this side, down imaging here. Fish are stacked vertically on this structure. There is a piece of structure in there. You just can't see it very well, but you can see a little piece of it right here. See a little limb there, but there is a little piece of structure in there, and there is fish stacked on it vertically, okay? Fish are a little bit to the right of the boat, which we talked about earlier, probably about 8 feet to the right of the boat. And you can see the shadows. Let's zoom in on the shadows here. Again, this is why I like a Lowrance unit, because look at the shadows right here, guys. Those shadows of those fish really pop off the screen to you on a palette that doesn't have a lot of black in it, okay? So you get really good shadows. Let's see, you guys got any questions? Scroll speed. Josh is a bird man. Bird guys they're diehards. They're like, there's nothing better than a hummingbird. It's just nothing better. I like my Lowrance, but again, hummingbirds are good units. And Garmin, guys, Garmin side imaging, it's right there. It's right there. I mean, I ran it for years. I ran Garmin, I've told you guys before. I've run Garmins, I've run hummingbirds, and I've run Lowrances. My opinion of lineup would be Lowrance, Garmin, bird. That's my opinion. That's just for my eye, but everybody's eye is different. All right, let's see here. Where's my photo? There's my photo. All right, we talked about this photo a little bit earlier as well. Tree over here on the right. What we didn't talk about is the fish in this tree. So I don't know if you guys can see those right off the rip, but let me show you. Let me zoom in a little more. Let's get on in there. So side imaging, this is on side imaging. This is your center line of your boat. This tree is actually off to the right-hand side of the boat. But the fish in that tree, and this is a Lowrance image, the fish in that tree are right there on my cursor. So you can see that group of fish. It's probably about 15 fish sitting right there on my cursor. And if you look, this is zoomed in really far, but if you look right here, okay, actually all right in here, you can see the shadows of those fish that are sitting up there in that tree, okay? So here's your shadows, here's your fish. A lot of times, guys, the return off those fish is going to be your air bladder. You're going to get an air bladder return off those fish. And a lot of times, little fish will look big because they have to fill their air bladder up a lot. And big fish may look little because they may not have to fill their air bladder up as much. But one thing I will say is these shadows will not lie to you on how big those fish are. So a lot of times people say or ask me, how do you know how big a fish is when you see it? By just looking at the return of the fish, the little white grain of rice. And I say, well, I don't look at the white grain of rice. They say, what do you mean? I say, I look at the shadow. Well, what if there's no shadow? Well, then you don't know. You really don't know if there's if it's a big fish or not if you don't have a shadow. But if you have a shadow, shadows don't lie, okay? They will tell you how big a fish is. Jimmy says thieves hit Concord boat ramp last week. Yeah, I heard that, Jimmy. And that is a very, very, very public ramp. I mean, it's on a main highway. It's middle of Knoxville. 2 parks on either side, 3 parks on either side, and a dog park. 2 dog parks on either side of it. That's a very, very public place, and they hit it. So I know that's miserable. Andrew Alonzo, Tom Fuller has cameras, I guess. So yes, Tom Fuller Memorial Park has security cameras. Okay, guys, there are security cameras at Tom Fuller Memorial Park. So they come over to Tom Fuller. Not only will they be met by some rednecks that are weighing fish, because there's going to be a weighmaster and people jockeying fish back and forth, and there's going to be guys coming in boats every hour weighing fish. So not only are they going to get met with rednecks, a lot of rednecks with a lot of redneck toys, but they're also going to get introduced to Mr. Camera and Mr. Sheriff, because they'll get caught on camera if they come there, among other things. So anyway. All right, so let's go to the next photo. All right, so I put this picture up, and I wanted to talk about this. Again, this is a Lowrance unit. I wanted to talk to this photo about suspended fish off to the sides of your boat, identifying those with your side imaging. So as you can see, I have a few fish circled here. There's one right there. You can see its shadow. There's a fish there, a fish there. You can see the shadow. But all of these little white dots, okay, with the exception of that's not fish. That's a log. That's a rock, the edge of a rock. That's a stick. That's an edge of a rock. That's an edge of a rock. Follow my cursor. But all of these little white dots out here, guys, are fish, okay? All these little white dots. Now, some are not crappie, some are. These two fish I have circled right here are potentially crappie. They're very large crappie. They're borderlining bass. This fish right here is a bass. These fish right here are crappie. All right. Crappie. That's a crappie. Anyway, the reason I wanted to show you guys this image is because if you're a longliner, if you're a planer boarder, if you just like to spider rig or troll or however you like to fish, this is the side imaging screen that you're looking for that goes ding, 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 ding. Okay, I'm going to set the boat down right here and we're going fishing. This is what you're looking for if you're a troller, to be on consistent fish and catch a limit of fish trolling like that. You can run, make passes. Generally, when you find a screen like this, guys, it's not just going to be this one screen. You're going to have this for 100 yards down the lake, or 50 yards or 75 yards, however far. I've seen this 500 yards before, a screen just like this, where you can literally put out planer boards or a long line setup and just troll and catch 30 keepers in 2 hours. I mean, it's ridiculous, the amount of fish you can catch when you see a screen like this. But I just want to kind of show you guys what I'm looking for, how I identify these fish on side imaging, okay, out to the sides of the boat. That tells me, all right, I need to stop here and fish. Let's see. Larry Merrick said something about TWRA. What you got, Larry? Hey, guess who got inspected by TWRA the other day at Tom Fuller? Me. Mr. Don Chase looked at my license, fire extinguisher, and flotation device. That's funny. Did he check your fish? No? He didn't check your fish? Just your fire extinguisher and license and flotation device. Okay. I've been checked on, let's see. I've been checked on Chick. I've been checked on Loudon. I've been checked on Watts Bar. We got checked in a tournament on Watts Bar a couple years ago. I've been checked on Teleco. I think I said that. I saw them on Loudon. You guys saw that in a video. And he talked to me on Loudon, but he didn't check me. I don't know why, but he didn't. Matt, with what you explained earlier, if I'm in 25 feet of water and looking for a small structure waypoint using only side imaging and go directly over top of it, is it correct that I would not see it? No, you'll see it. You'll see it on both sides of your screen in the black area if you go directly over top of it. So let me find an image. Let me find an image. All right, I know where I'm going. So Ashley, let's look at this again. Now, I didn't go directly over top of this, but kind of close, pretty close. So you see, this is a little brighter on the right than on the left. But if I was to go directly, I mean, not even a hair width directly over top of that, it would be this bright on both sides. If you look at your screen and there's no difference in brightness between this side and this side, then you went directly over top of that structure. Okay. If there's difference like this, then yeah, you missed it to the right a little bit. But if it's the same brightness, you went directly over it. Okay. That makes sense. All right. So I told you guys I was going to show you what bait looks like on side imaging. Here is bait. All right. This is bait on your side imaging. So let me scroll in. I'm going to scroll in on this area right over here. Okay. So this is bait on your side imaging. This is just a big wad of bait. And you can see that it's very cloudy. Returns are very small. You're not getting real defined shadows or anything like that off of the bait. Okay, this is what your bait. This is obviously a creek channel. Drop down off deep water or drop down off shallow deep water here. And this is just a huge school of bait that's out there. And now I'm not saying there's not some fish in there, because where there's bait, where there's this much bait, there's fish too. But this is what your bait is going to look like on your side imaging and down imaging when you find it. Okay, you're going to get a return very, very similar to this, very cloudy. Good night. I'm moving it all over the place. All right, very cloudy and very small returns and not a whole lot of real defined shadowing. Okay. Now, here is side imaging, down imaging, and standard sonar all together. All right. Now, again, I do not run my units this way. I don't even have standard sonar on my boat anymore. It's kind of a thing of the past for me, and I just don't run it. I'm running out of voice. But nonetheless, I wanted to show some standard sonar to you guys just to kind of compare. All right. So one thing that if you fish with East Tennessee Crappie Club any this year, we've talked about catching fish on the bottom. So when we're catching fish on the bottom, especially in the winter, this is what we're talking about or seeing on our side imaging and down imaging. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit kind of over here on side imaging. And can you guys see these fish right here and right here? Now we went directly over top of these fish. So Ashley, to answer your question, see how this side and that side, they're the same return color. This one's not brighter than this one. So we went directly over top of these fish. All right. Those are fish that are sitting directly on the bottom of the lake. They're not sitting on any structure. They're just sitting on the bottom. And by sitting directly on the bottom, I mean within 1 foot to 2 foot of the bottom. Okay. Now let's go up here and look at those fish on the down imaging, because we went right over those fish. So here they are on the down imaging. Okay. Here's those crappie on down imaging. You can actually count them. There's one there, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, maybe 22 fish. 21, 22 fish right there on the bottom of the lake. Okay. Now, if you come down here to your standard sonar, you're not really getting as many fish down here. See that? And you're getting, well, we can't see that high up on the other screen. Ignore that fish under the 22 because you can't see him up there. So you're not getting quite as many defined returns, but you're getting returns. So see how this fish is an arch? See how this arch? So you got the air bladder right there, and then there's your fish. Those yellow areas, those little yellow peaks are the fish's air bladder. And that arch is created by the body of the fish and the air bladder being up in the top. It's catching that air bladder and giving you a return. Okay. So right here, if you looked at the standard sonar, it's one. Yeah, I don't know if I'd call that a fish. Maybe 2, 3, 4. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I'm going to say maybe 11 fish, but we know now that we have down imaging, more than 11 fish down there, right, guys? So that's the reason, one of the reasons I don't run standard sonars, because you lose a lot. You don't have the definition. You don't have the same returns. You don't have the separation, if you will, between bottom and fish. And with down imaging, you get just a lot crisper, cleaner picture where you don't have as much guesswork to do. Okay. All right, here's another standard sonar next to down imaging. This is Humminbird. So you can see this is a hump, or not a hump, but a ledge. Okay. So you got a ledge right here coming from deep water to shallows the way they were coming. This is not my unit. This one I pulled offline. But you can see you've got a tree here. You've got some stakes, it looks like, almost there. That looks more like a limb than a stake. That could be bamboo. Kind of looks like bamboo to me, to be honest. But they're stakes nonetheless, probably bamboo stakes. And you got a stump here, and there's some stakes around it. You got some trash that's floated in over here on this side. So obviously you can see all the individual fish that are in that. There's some fish up here in the top of this. Okay, there's some fish down here in the bottom of this. There's fish here on these stakes beside this stump. And there is fish on the back side of this stump. Okay, you got fish there, there. You see all those fish that are scattered around that stump. Now up here, up top, you've also got fish. Okay, these are also fish. Now, if I was to pull over this and see this right as it sets on this screen, these fish up top are bluegill. I would almost guarantee those are bluegill or stripe. Could be stripe. But from the size of those returns on that Humminbird screen, I'm saying that's bluegill. See the difference in size between the crappie return down here and that return up there? I'm calling this bluegill. That's crappie. Okay. So for you guys that, find fish and you say, oh, I found fish, I can see them on the screen, but they wouldn't bite. That's because you got to make sure they're not bluegill. Bluegill also love structure, guys. And bluegill will sit on top of a brush pile a lot. They will frequent the top of a brush pile almost more than crappie will. Okay. So those are bluegill. That would be my 100% guess if it were me. Bluegill here, crappie in the brush down closer to the bottom. Now let's move over here to the standard sonar. Okay. This stump right here, you can see it's red. The red return is the hardest return that you'll get off of standard sonar. That is a very hard return. That almost may, but you can see that you've got some orange in it. So you see where you kind of get some separation of orange mixed into that red. That's what tells me it's a stump. If this was solid red, like down in here, like where my cursor is, just solid red, and that whole thing right there was solid red, then I would say rock. But because there's some scattered orange in that, I'm calling it a stump. Okay. If I didn't have this picture, I would call it a stump. But I have this picture and I know it's a stump. So again, there's your bluegill up top. You can see along the edge of this stump, you see those red streaks. Okay, that's crappie. So you can still see those crappie in there. And then over here on this side, on the upper side of the stump, you can see crappie here, you can see crappie there, you can see crappie there, see a crappie over here. I mean, you can still see those crappie, guys. But look again, if you were to look at this image, you say, oh, there may be 10 fish there, there may be 5 fish there. If you look over here, there's a lot more than 10 fish there. Okay. Now, can't really see anything because of the numbers over there, so we won't talk about that tree. But nonetheless, you can see a lot more fish here than you can on the standard sonar. Next, please. Oh, that's the last one. All right. That was the last photo. All right, guys. Let's see what we got. See if you guys have any more questions. So I hope that helps. I hope that helps you guys understand, what you're looking at on your down imaging, your side imaging. Little standard sonar there for you guys. We will get into some live scope stuff, and we will talk about live scope images and forward view and down view and everything, depth and all that. But I just wanted to go over some side imaging, some down imaging photos with you guys. We've done it before and you guys really enjoyed it. So you asked me to do it again. We did it again. I hope that it helps. It sounds like it's helped several people tonight. It sounds like just having the idea of the orientation of your transducer and your cones and what you're seeing on that screen has helped tremendously for some people. So let's see if you guys have any questions. Jamie Nelson says nothing comes close to iPilot Link. That's probably true. iPilot Link for trolling is the best thing that they ever invented. Josh, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it, buddy. I'm glad you enjoyed the info. Thank you very much. Larry Merrick, thank you for the super chat as well. I appreciate it, you guys. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I love getting on here and helping teach and helping guys learn more and catch more and be more successful. So that's my passion. I appreciate you guys for helping support that. Thank you, Josh. Thank you, Larry. I appreciate you guys. All right, let's see here. All right, Ashley says, I'm thinking more of something like a stump or small log, something not very big. I've looked for specific single stumps before on side imaging and not find them. Ashley, a lot of times stumps that have been in the lake for a long time, if they get waterlogged, they don't give off a very good return. And with the wrong color palette, you won't be able to see them. Okay. Palette means a lot. It really does. Color palette. So, if you know they're there, keep looking for them. If you run right over them, you should be able to see them. If you don't see them, you're not right over top of them. Tom A. Thank you, Tom, for the super chat. I appreciate it. You're welcome as always, sir. Thank you, my friend. Danny Rock. Thank you, Danny. I appreciate your super chat as well. Guys, y'all have no idea. It's a blessing to me. I thank you. I don't take it lightly. Thank y'all for the blessing. I appreciate it. It is an honor to do this for you guys. I appreciate every minute of it. I wouldn't have it any other way. Thank you, Danny. I appreciate your super chat. Guys, real quick, we only touched, I want to say this, we only touched the surface of side imaging, down imaging, and units. We didn't go into depth. I should have went into more depth about 455, 800, 89, 200, or 85, 200, chirp, non-chirp. We only touched the surface, guys, of side imaging, down imaging, and units. Actually, we didn't even touch the surface. We dipped a toe in tonight, okay? That was it. we dipped a little bitty toe, our little pinky toe, into what all these units are capable of. And if you guys, Steven, thank you very much for the super chat, Steven. I appreciate you very much, buddy. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Jamie Nelson, thank you for the super chat. Great info. I'm glad you guys liked it. But yes, we barely scratched the surface of everything that is units. We did not talk about contrast. We did not talk about sensitivity. We did not talk about ranges. We did not talk about so much stuff. Noise reject, noise reduction. We just didn't even scratch it. Okay. If you want to get in depth with your side imaging and you really want to learn to love your side imaging and down imaging, Crappie Cove, guys, I'm going to be giving a class at Crappie Cove on side imaging and down imaging, everything units, how to read your unit, how to set up your unit, how to make your units work for you. We are going to go into extreme depth. I will have a book for you guys to take notes in. I'll have a PowerPoint to watch. We'll have videos to watch. We'll go through everything together. That class is going to be at Crappie Cove, and it will be May the 2nd, I do believe it is. May the 2nd. Let's see, what is this? This is March. No, I'm sorry. That's wrong. January, February, March. It'll be June the 6th. June the 6th will be the electronics class at Crappie Cove in Maryville, Tennessee. If you guys want to sign up for that class, there will be registration for the class on crappiecove.com on the website. You can register for that class and get hooked up. You can register online and you can attend via Zoom, or you can register to attend in person and you can come in the classroom with me and we'll go through all that together in the classroom. So it is going to be extremely, extremely in-depth, down to how to adjust, set, read, and everything that is units. There is a lot more to learn, trust me. It is not as easy as just reading the picture. You've got to know how to do everything from start to finish on your units, and we're going to go through that in that class. It's a 3.5-hour class. June the 6th is when that'll be, and if you missed the first class that we did, the Crappie Academy we did, it was very good. I'm sure there's a lot of people on here that were there that would vouch for that. It was a very good class. A lot of good info, a lot of good stuff went out. So the second class, June the 6th. If it's not, Crappie Cove just redid their website. If it's not on the Crappie Cove website to register for that class, message me at info@wiredforcrappie.com. I'm going to put my info at wiredforcrappie.com. So right there's my email address. Shoot me an email. I can hook you up with Misty and get you registered for the class. Misty is our Crappie Cove girl, and she would be more than happy to help you get registered for the classes. So anyway, enough about that. If you want to learn more and know more and get in depth with your units, register for that class because I'm going to be teaching it. It's going to be good. All right, guys. I think that's going to be it. I'm going to look one more time real quick. Don't leave me. Look one more time and see if I have some questions. I think I did, and I missed them. I don't want to miss them. I want to go through. Tom A., if you don't have live scope, can you still use 2D sonar to see your bait? Yes, you can. You can still use 2D sonar. The thing is you have to be inside that cone, Tom. So you basically have to drop your jig right down below your transducer so that you can see that jig fall. But yes, you can watch your jig fall on 2D. Karen H. Karen, welcome. I don't think I saw you earlier. If I did, I'm glad you're here. Karen, you are amazing, and thank you very much. My wife actually teared up, Karen, and you caused me to maybe tear up. I'm not going to say I did or didn't. Last week was enough for me. So But Karen, thank you very much. You're a blessing, and I appreciate you. All right. Let's see. Andrew, I have a question. If you catch a small fish and you let it go and comes back up dead, do you keep it or let it be? Let it be. If I catch a small fish, that fish, if it goes down and comes back up, it makes me feel horrible, first of all. But second of all, I'm not paying that fine. It's like $280 or something for a fish, and it ain't worth it to me. So I just leave that fish be. Uh, there are eagles in all our East Tennessee lakes have bald eagles and falcons and everything else. So I'll feed them. And cormorants. We have cormorants, so they can eat that crappie. That'd be just fine. Chris Carter says, has anyone thought that this information could be sabotage with the tournament coming up Saturday? Lots of laughs. Sabotage for me or sabotage for you? I'm not sure. I mean, you can go vet all my info. Hey, you're more than welcome. Go out there, look it up, vet my info. Don't just trust me. Go look at it other places. Google it. I'm telling you, you're going to go, oh, well, he did tell us the truth. Okay, cool. Yeah. Check. I don't mind being vetted. Not one bit. I wouldn't sabotage anybody. Those guys that know me well know I won't sabotage anybody. I just about give you the daggum rundown without giving you the GPS coordinates. I just about would give you. I'd get you in the right area anyway. But no, I've given guys information at the morning of a tournament. I've given guys information that have never been on the lake, and they've beat my pants off with the information that I gave them. So it don't matter. There's tournaments out there, Chris. There's tournaments out there every weekend. It don't matter, buddy. I'm very, very comfortable with being able to go catch fish. And if you catch one bigger than me, I'd be right there to shake your hand. Steve Hosey, you're welcome, sir. He said, I had the 93 SV for a year. Learned a lot. Great show. Good deal, buddy. Well, I appreciate you being here. Chris Carter said, love the content. Thanks, Matt. See you Saturday, hopefully. Signing out from Ohio. We'll see you later, buddy. Josh Sanders said, choo-choo, super chat train. It was there for a minute. It was like ding, 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 ding. And my screen was just like all different colors at the top. Looked like, ding, 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 all these super chats popping up. So that's pretty cool. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Definitely learn more tonight. Thanks again, buddy. Have a great rest of the week. God bless. God bless, bud. Let's see. Karen H. Oh, good question here, guys. Good question. Also glad, hey, Matt, if we miss the other Crappie Cove class, can you get those somehow on demand? Going to sign up for the June 6th one. Okay, so if you missed the class, if you missed the first class, but you sign up for the next class, you will get the packet of information and the PowerPoint for the first class. So you will actually get all of the information in the PowerPoint for the first class. It's got bullet points. It's got this. It's got that. It's got a walkthrough. It's got everything you need. It's got everything circled, highlighted, drawn out, ready to rock and roll for you. If you sign up for the second class, you will get the first class when you sign up, okay? So if you sign up, we will come back around and ask everybody. Well, we'll know because we know who signed up for the first class and who signed up for the second one. So the people that did not sign up for the first or did not attend the first class but are at the second will get the first class, okay? Karen, meaning can we pay for that on-demand one of the ones we missed? Gotcha. Okay. I hate to Karen, to be honest, if you sign up for one of the classes, I'll be more than happy to give you the first one. I want everybody to stay up to speed. That way, you've got everything ready to rock and roll. There is a lot of stuff that we talked about in the class that obviously questions and just feedback and elaborating on everything. You unfortunately will miss that portion. But we are going to start recording the classes, and we're going to be able to. I don't want to sell just the book, okay? And the reason I don't want to sell just the book is because there's a whole lot of explaining. There's a whole lot of extra that goes with just the book, okay? And once we start recording the classes, then yes, we will sell those separately. Those will be available for purchase after the classes have finished, and you'll be able to get the video and actually watch the video and follow along with the data. But the data itself, we'll make sure that the people that don't have that sign up for the rest of the classes get that class. Okay. All right, guys. That's it. I appreciate y'all for watching. We're going to sign off. I said earlier we were going to try to keep it to an hour, but I had a lot of stuff to get through tonight. So I appreciate y'all guys for watching. I appreciate everything y'all do for the channel. I would not be here. Wired for Crappie would not be Wired for Crappie unless you guys were here and participating with me and part of the Wired fam. So thank y'all for everything y'all do. It's a blessing to call all y'all friends and part of the Wired fam. I appreciate it. Y'all have a good night. And if y'all, Larry said he'll pay for me to go back and record the first session. Yeah, I wish I could. I wish I could go back and record. There's a lot of good stuff, wasn't there, Larry? A lot of good stuff. So anyway, y'all have a blessed week, blessed night. We'll see y'all this weekend on the video, and we'll catch you guys next week on the live. God bless, guys. Have a good week and a good night.